Not in a hurry or anything.
No, I'm on the time frame.
Well, 12:05, what's it really mean?
Looking for.
I'll be your fault.
Do my best. What you do? I don't know if you put it in. I don't know if you put it in or not. She's gonna bring up some stuff.
Okay.
Like, it'll open the door.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, it'll open the door.
We're done.
Yeah.
It's being live streamed.
You ready? Everyone, please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Chuck Davis,
Here.
Councilman Lewis,
Here.
Councilman Beck. Here. Councilman Gary Flutie.
Here.
Beck. Councilman Bill Barker.
Here. Okay, has everybody had a chance to look through the agenda? Is there any additions or changes that need to be made to this agenda? Being none, do I have a motion to pass the agenda proposed?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of May 21st minutes from the last council meeting. Is there any changes or additions that need to be done with the last meeting's minutes? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from May 21st, 2024?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Move on to approval of the bills. We have deposits in the amount of $146,481.63. Accounts payable in the amount of $115,351.61. Transmittals in the amount of $20,332.50. And payroll in the amount of $42,747.11. Any questions on the bills or financial statement? Do I have a motion to pass the financial statement and pay the bills as read?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to correspondence.
First one is the Hallie from Wyoming Tourism.
And what this is just, it's Wyoming Tourism is going around the state. They're picking certain spots. They're coming up to Jamboree. They're gonna film some stuff up there. It'll be later put out on the Wyoming Tourism Board. While they're here, they want to film the hot pool and do some video down there. They want to do it live, so they want people in the pool. I'm gonna get further information as the time gets closer. They will pay people to be in the pool. Up to $50 an hour. So that's when we get more, we'll get it out on the website and on the. So everybody can maybe go down and get your picture taken. Get it out there and everybody in Wyoming can see it or wherever. So, but that's coming through. She contacted me as it gets closer, she will be in touch with you. So. Okay,
Next one is the Carbon County Visitors Council. Their member at large, Alex Druhigan, will not renew his appointment. They sent out advertising and John Farr is a candidate. They have picked him and they need our approval. His letter is, Dear CCBC, I'm writing to you today to express my interest in the available member at large position. I have prior experience with CCBC as a board member. I've always enjoyed this board and tourism is one of my passions. And we all know tourism is an important key to Carbon County. As you all know, Battle Pass Scenic Byway was one of my pet projects and the CBC was a huge support to it. Please accept this letter of interest as I am excited to join this board again. I'm looking forward to hear from you all. Thank you, John Farr.
Does the council have any issues with Mr. Farr? Or do we give our approval?
I don't even know him.
I know him pretty. I think he's a pretty decent fellow. Anyway, could I entertain a motion to go ahead and say that the town of Saratoga approves their member at large?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Next one is from the Power Company of Wyoming. Basically, they sent out an amendment for the conditional use permit that they have with the county for the wind turbines. They are decreasing the number of turbines from 1,000 to 622. And they're just wanting approval or
it's not really
it's
approval.
not a real approval. They're just
I mean,
sending
everything's run through the county. It's just basically letting us know what they're doing. Thank you.
And the next one is from Amanda Notwell at the chamber. She's hosting a member appreciation and meet the new board on June 11th at the PVCC lobby from 4 to 6 p.m.
What times?
From 4 to 6 p.m.
Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
There'll be food and drinks.
That's always a tractor. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on. Is there any items from the public? And it looks like we have a special event application for the 28th annual Stanley Cup Brew Fest. It looks like we got several from.
Yeah, I know, I work for all, so that there's no.
Just step right up to the podium. Fill us in.
Okay, that first one is the 28th annual Stanley Cup Brew Fest. We had a couple of things come up with another wedding in town that took up the whole Riviera. And then Carbon County Fair went back to the old calendar, so that put the demo derby on that second Saturday. So we didn't want it on the Saturday of the right before school, with it leaving only one day. It stinks for me and for some of my volunteers, because I don't get volunteers because they're all getting ready for school. So we have moved that to August 3rd.
August 1st.
3rd. And I secured that with Brenda last year on the calendar, but so it'll be the 28th. I already have a few brewers signed up and people buying tickets. Same as always.
Okay. Do I have a motion to go ahead and accept this special application for that?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Perfect.
move on to the next.
Okay, so that next one is the 3rd annual 5K. And this year, so it's gonna be on the 4th itself. But I've teamed up with the Carbon County School District number 2's cross-country team. And some of the proceeds will go to the runners at the high school. And I say CCSD number 2 because if Encampment wants to run or Hannah, they do have to come to Saratoga. So I'm giving it as a whole to them. And they're gonna help me this year. I have several of the kids that will be flaggers. And so what we would like to do is start at the water plant over here. Because we'll have the pancake breakfast for the volunteer fire department is happening from 7 to 10. So what I'd like to do is gather there, we'd start there this year. And I'll have flaggers, but what I'll need, probably help from you, is we'll run from there over the bridge, turn right there, and then at the resort, turn and go back and around like they always do. So instead of going over to the Hobo Springs like last year, we'll utilize the road and across the bridge back to where everyone meets back at the fire department to partake in the pancake breakfast, was what the hope was. So like if family members were waiting for them or stuff, they could be there at the fire department eating breakfast and whatnot while the runners were running. But I have secured enough people to help flag. But so just be, there and across the bridge when they're coming in.
Any questions?
Where will your water project be by then?
We'll be in good shape on that, don't you think, Emery? The water project, they'll be far enough down.
Yeah, I think so.
Actually, they're far enough down now, we could start there. You won't be able to park.
Said they'd probably be paving on Friday if everything goes right. You know how that goes.
Yeah. So, yeah, that should be,
Have one question I have.
Ensure there was a lane adjacent to where.
Well, and if they're going across the bridge and coming back across the bridge, it won't really matter. We should-
Right, yeah, it's basically from just that.
They were going around
From.
if he
fire
through the
department
project,
In
but
front of Shively's over the bridge,
yeah.
around the resort and back the exact same way. But that's why I involved the kids this year, so I can give proceeds back to them, have them involved, and then I'd have the volunteers to help with flagging and stuff and watch the runners just on the town portion, like road portion of the run.
okay,
We used that route 2 years ago,
Right.
remember, Amanda. So we want to be really hyper aware of this intersection. People were still trying to go around. And so we just want to flag and have really good signage. It's a good route,
Which is
but
why I changed it.
it's
to
mainly the
Global.
drivers that
But-
pay attention and yeah. So as long as we've got somebody saying.
Right, and I would leave it as I did last year, but with it being on the 4th and having the pancake, it just
You know,
makes
I
more
like,
sense.
it's good that
to-
it ends there.
To move it there.
Yeah.
So we'll just take more precautions with having, I'll have my adult volunteers
Yeah,
flagging, for sure on the bridge and stuff, of that sort.
that would be
Okay.
the only thing that I noticed last year, but it's a good route. I'll move to approve this special events for the 5K.
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to, are you doing?
Yes,
Okay.
We do have time to live.
well, I'm living off energy drink, so,
He's only got 12 kids. He's got a lot of time.
I know, and now we're taking senior pictures already on Friday. Middle of them, I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, so same as last year, the Kiwanis group is gonna use my ducks from the chamber. And now, so they've already started selling tickets, and what they'll do is they're on August 3rd at Brewfest. They'll sell and then they'll release the ducks from the bridge, and they don't even go. I mean, you can see them where they end, and last year they had the wrestling club in there and collected all the ducks at the end with the net. So that would be the same thing that they would do.
Questions? Have a motion?
Make the motion. That's that. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that next one says Amanda, but that one's not me.
Okay, thanks. Okay, we'll move on to Amanda Pickett. The water bill, is she here tonight? What it was is I was contacted by her. She bought some land. There is a bill against it. She was asking if the council could do anything to allow her to make payments or anything like this, and per our ordinances, it cannot be done. And I have the ordinance right here.
Can't make payments.
Cannot make payments. Once the water is turned off, payment in full has to be made before it can be turned back on, is the way the ordinance is wrote. I believe I'm correct on that, Mr. Zoning guy.
Yeah.
So,
You can, when you get a notice, you can pay such a percentage of it to return your service, but it gets to the point where it doesn't show up. The article.
How much is it?
right at 3,000
Two
and
thousand
it,
nine hundred eight.
so. But I didn't hear back from her. She was planning on attending the meeting and I've not heard anything back from her. In fact, I even reached back out to her after I did some research and found this, and I never received a call back. So, okay, we'll move on to the next one, and that will be, it looks like a bike track petition and map.
Hello, my name is Jackson Owen. I've been a Saratoga resident for my whole life. I enjoy living here. I also like riding my bike. I like it so much that we have planned some of our family trips around visiting places with trails and bike parks. So I would enjoy a nice bike park here. The current bike park is a safety issue and is also run down in some spots. There's concrete blocks sticking out, and in other places, there's rocks, plants, washouts, etc. My family and I have spent some time picking up trash and covering exposed concrete blocks with dirt. I go to SMHS and my friends often complain how run down it is and agree how it could be improved. So we have a petition to present to you.
Hello, my name is Archer Bureau and I've lived here since I was 3 years old. And I will now read the petition aloud so everyone can hear. We, the undersized children and youth of Saratoga, would like a new bike track in town. We believe that having a dedicated bike track in Saratoga would benefit our community and provide us with a safe and fun space to ride our bikes. Reasons for supporting a new bike track project. 1, safety. The current bike track is not well designed and has many safety issues. By rebuilding it, we can improve how it works, but also make it a safe place for everyone to ride. 2, recreation. A developed bike track would give kids something to do other than playing sports. 3, everyone loves bikes. Bike riding is something that almost everyone can participate in. 4, lifelong bikers. Give kids this interest in riding their bikes at a young age. By creating bike course, we can give kids a more challenging space to ride their bike, keeping kids riding bikes longer. 5, builds community. A bike track is a place the whole family can use and enjoy, as well as a place to make new friends and share the joy of riding a bike. Therefore, we, the undersigned, ask the town to consider our request for the construction of a new bike track in Saratoga. In addition to the 108 people who signed the petition, we asked the neighbors if they had any questions or concerns about this project. 502 South Fifth Street, Bill Woodstrom said he supports anything that keeps kids active. 211 South Fifth Street, John McCracken had a few concerns for the people who use the space currently to walk their dogs. He wanted to make sure there was no one was excluded from this area. 207 South Fifth Street, Irma said she was in support of this project. The library. Miss Sue, the head librarian, was in favor, but wanted to be sure she would not be responsible for watching over the area, which she will not be. Cross at Elm 216 South Fifth Street. Joy Hamilton says she wholeheartedly supports anything for the kids.
Thank you.
I'm Ben Owen. I'm Jackson's father. The original bike park or track was built back when I was in school. Back when it was built, really wasn't that much fun. The construction on it was a little awkward. There's big, long spaces, not much flow to it. Some of the jumps or features are 30 feet wide. Some are 18, some are 5. You know, it's just kind of put together without a lot of thought. So after 22, 23 years of Mother Nature and thousands of bike tires, it's gotten a lot more rundown. Concrete blocks, like in the first photo in the packet, are sticking through on pretty much all of the features. Those were used to fill in and build up the original construction. And you know, it's just gotten worn down and it's gotten less fun over the years. So I was talking with Jackson, neighbors in the beer house, McCall went around and got the petition going, that each kids and community involvement. Gets a pretty good showing for just a couple of weeks of passing that petition around. I don't have any use numbers on what it sees, but it sees a lot of kids, a lot of adults. I mean, I'm almost 40 years old and I'm still riding and jumping my bike on it now. So McCall also reached out to an engineering firm. One of the guys came and took a look at the bike track. He does trail building, pump tracks, all of that sort of stuff. And there's tremendous potential up in that corner on the town property for future development, for pump tracks, for cross-country loops, for a lot of potential, but that's further down the road. What I'd like to ask for today and now is approval to modify and also rebuild what's there. If you look at the first photo, it shows the blocks. The second one shows where I would like to make removals of dirt and the concrete blocks. We measured everything out. A lot of those are just the really long ones. The bottom left would be the start point. That jump is over 30 feet wide. And I mean, we don't have 20 kids going down at the same time. Keeping everything in the 12 to 15 foot width would allow 4 or 5 kids to go at the same time. Removing that soil would be used for what's on the third figure or third photo. And that's the new construction, what I would like to see done there. And to be clear and upfront, I am not looking to build an X Games course. I don't want jumps people do backflips on. I would like to build something that is fun and usable for everyone from 18 months old on striders to 70-year-olds riding their bikes, and that people can walk and roll over. No high consequence areas, nothing. That's where the last drawing, where it's kind of a crude diagram showing the size and shape of what I'd like to construct. I don't know how into the weeds you guys want to get on this, but I guess the most important part of it is that I would like to volunteer time, machinery, labor, and everything. So 0 cost to the town to get this, I guess, built back up and improved. So, and then also as the excavator on it, I'll be responsible for submitting the one call and going through all of those hoops. So I guess, does anybody have any questions, comments? Would anybody like to walk the space at a later date, put hands and boots on it?
I don't see a problem with any of it.
I don't know if it's not costing the town anything, and we're pretty hooked up right now.
Yeah.
And everything.
Yep.
And it's refreshing to hear somebody say, we'll do this. You have no idea. And you two youngins, that was a very good presentation.
I mean, I say me, but I mean, they will be
Yeah.
very involved in it, and
Yeah.
friends and, extended family and friends,
Yeah.
it'll be more of a community thing, but I would take ownership of it. So,
Yeah, it's great.
yeah, it's been utilized for 20 plus years, and, we went on a recent trip and got home, went to a really cool bike park that was built up and well developed and designed. And we got home and Jackson went and rode his bike and then came home and was kind of down. And he's like, it's not much fun. That's the whole point, bud. Let's see what we can do and actually make it fun. So
Yeah, do you know when you'd like to start?
I'm pretty flexible on start time. So I'd be willing to take days off and do whatever it takes to make this happen. Like I said, it wasn't much fun when I was a kid, and I want to make it happen for my kids and their friends. So,
Yeah, I'd encourage you to use this platform to spread the news and get the information out and organize volunteers. I think you'd have some volunteers. I'd be willing to come out and help.
with what's proposed, in a skid steer, water truck, and a whacker packer, it's about 8 hours of work. It really isn't that much to make the changes and make it a lot more fun.
Great.
So.
I think we should have an opening day.
So, and to speak to my, qualification on that, up into my 20s, I raced BMX and mountain bike at a fairly competitive, high level. So, I do know how to structure and build those things and do that.
Great.
Question from your department? I just think that I think it's a fantastic idea. I totally 100% support it. It's just be aware that if the town, not this council, but another council or something decided to sell the property or do that, before you put a lot of money into it,
Yeah.
get a lot of good commitment, but,
Yeah. Yeah, and I understand that. I understand that there's also some discussions regarding that space for future development, but I mean, a lot can happen in the future and I'd rather have something that we can use this summer.
well, I'll call for a motion to pass for this, but I'm still waiting on one little thing. I'm waiting for the town attorney to call me back. I was hoping to have every question answered.
Okay.
I don't think there'll be an issue because it's been there in the past, but that is one thing we have to double check.
Yep.
To make sure, I don't know, you have to put up signage that says right at your own
Yeah.
risk. I don't know.
That'd be like the state.
But if we can pass it conditionally and as soon as I hear back from her, then we could go ahead and give you permission to start.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. I appreciate the consideration.
Would you make?
Sure, I'll move to approve, moving forward on the fixes at the bike park, pending approval or any comments from the attorney.
And I'll continue to reach out to her this week.
Awesome.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you. Thank you for your presentation.
Good job, guys.
Okay, we'll move on to a special event application from the malt.
Speak to it as needed. Dan Bureau from the Malt. The permit's pretty straightforward. We've done music around the 4th of July, kind of continuing other events in town for the last, I guess this will be the 7th year we've done it. So it's music right after the parade ends. We'll fire up over there. We'll use the chamber stage in our parking lot from about noon until 9 PM. On premise, there was a special consideration there to allow open container permit from our property to the park adjacent to,
Part.
Odd Village Park. So, that was the only, I think, additional thing. We haven't done that before. We bring in porta potties. Street parking can be a thing as it can any 4th of July. We'll actually be on the 4th this year. So pretty straightforward. If there's any questions. Is there any-
Anybody have any questions?
And that won't run at the same time, the one downtown, yes?
No, I think that one is on, so we'll be on Thursday. I think the one downtown is on Saturday.
Okay, just don't want them drowning each other out.
Yeah, we always try and work around that. Ours will be, the parade happens the morning of the 4th. We'll start right after that. Can't remember what's happening on Friday, and then Saturday is the big event downtown. So
Friday will be at the yard. Still have
that's right.
booths,
There's
will be
music there
at the
too.
yard. And then Saturday, noon will be the vendors, and then 3 PM starts the music there. So Danny and I had talked about this and kind of pushed for him to do on the 4th, so it kind of filled up that full day.
Kind of filled up the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess 3 days there of
Yeah.
stuff.
Great.
That
And you're closing the alley, Danny?
was the hope, just so there's not traffic coming through there,
Okay.
vans are setting up.
So no
and then
issues,
going and-
just.
Any issues with
Yeah,
them
other than that.
allowed open container over to the little park?
Not at all.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a motion to go ahead and accept the special event application.
I'll make a motion.
Got a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to Saratoga Middle High School dunk tank.
Hi, so I'm Jamie Lee. I'm one of the coaches for our volleyball team for the middle school, and we were just coming up with a new fundraising idea. So we were trying to get something more for the kids for before the parade and after the parade on the 4th. So we were hoping to do a dunk tank right out here in the parking lot. And everyone, yes, right here. And everyone said that would be okay because you guys are opposed and no parking. So we were just hoping to go forward with that to get the kids kind of involved before the parade and after the parade. And we have some of our parents and like the principal and superintendent who are offering to do the dunk tank. They don't quite, hopefully they agree.
As in, I get to dunk Mr. Jennings.
Yes, so Mr. Jennings and Mr. Johnson and a couple other parents. Maybe some of our senior girls will be in the dunk tank.
Have you asked the mayor if he wants?
The mayor
Oh.
or the building.
I think I'm gonna be gone that day.
If you welcome.
Yes.
Thanks, Kathy.
You're welcome. I mean, I'd pay a lot.
Yeah, they'd probably be throwing at me. So, do we close this off on the fourth for parking?
Mhm.
Have we done that in the past?
It's been used as parking in the past.
I don't know why we couldn't for, are you guys planning on it all day?
We were kind of planning around 9-ish, setting up, so a little bit before the parade, then a little bit after, just because we don't want to interfere with the run and the breakfast. So kind of when that is ending, getting started.
Just trying to think of how to do that with the parking, because parking is limited at times.
Mhm.
And then,
For the fall festival use.
they are.
Yeah.
They do. Okay.
Probably may have to do it as a breakfast start.
7.
7.
So we probably have to do something to close it beforehand, before people start.
Mhm.
Showing up for that.
Just
Yeah.
cones or, I mean, we put up
Yeah,
barriers.
we've got,
Got the
street
stuff.
department has some stuff, I'm sure. Speak for him.
Yeah, we can make that happen.
And technically on that day, the parking lot at our facility would be open because we don't have anything open.
Okay,
So
So that'll
that
work
could
out good.
alleviate some of that parking if you were to allow them to use the,
Community center, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, people use it anyway.
so that could be.
Yeah.
this here is really close to the highway. Everybody's lining up for the parade,
Yeah.
may draw more attention. So
Right.
it's council doesn't have approval. I don't have a problem
Yeah.
closing this off. It's temporary for, 2 or 3 hours.
9 to 4, is that?
We were just thinking, yeah, to set up and then to
And
get down after.
Sure.
Yeah.
Question?
Sounds like
Is
fun.
there a motion?
I'll move to approve the special events for SMHS volleyball.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I need to back up. Are you Amanda by chance? Would you step up? Called your name out, but things went faster than what we
I
thought.
didn't get off work till later.
So anyway, we'll back up and take care of you real quick.
Okay.
So you can tell us what's going on?
So, I was looking into purchasing 407 West Hickory and it comes with a past water due bill. And I understand that I don't want to take the fees away from the water because the Saratoga Town Council, render some services there. I was just wondering if you could make a payment arrangement out with me in order for me to get the water turned on so I can get in and start cleaning it up and get moved in. The electric company's coming up tomorrow. They're gonna run some lines up there for me and I'm gonna redo all the electrical inside of it. So it would be helpful if I can work something out with the water bill. So I was wondering if maybe I could do like $500 down, $150 a month, but including my occurring charges, not like, so then you'd get an extra 150 plus, because I understand like you need the money for the water that was serviced there. It is from a gentleman that did pass away 2 years ago, so it has sat for 2 years, so I need to do some cleaning, so I was wondering if maybe you guys could work on something with me to get it in there. I could start getting,
Well, I tried to reach back out to you. I left a message on your phone.
okay, I've been working a lot, so I
And
apologize.
after I told you that, to come before the council and everything, I went back and reviewed ordinances.
Okay,
And per our ordinance, it says no.
it says no.
It says a payment is not made in pursuant to subsection C-1-A. Any services to the property are terminated. The services will not be reconnected until all billings, including delinquent, current, and late fees are paid in full.
Okay, and that is the,
That is our,
okay, and that is in that's the,
in the town code.
okay, and that's the past due balance of the $2,900. Okay, all right, which I can do it, but like I wasn't trying to take all my funding out because I do electric and stuff like that, so.
And I wasn't aware of this until
Okay.
after we talked, or I would have told you right up front. That's why I called you right back,
Okay,
shortly thereafter.
yeah, and I've been working double.
Understand.
50, so, and then,
And to change this, wow, that would take a while.
right,
Takes basically 3 readings, and if the council so chooses to to do so.
To get something different in there.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I apologize.
That's okay. I totally understand. It was worth a shot. So I mean, I figured, because I mean, it's better to have somebody up there. I mean, to like make the property look nice and clean up all that garbage that's been sitting out there for 2 years and it's just
We
buying into
appreciate
the
that.
neighbors' properties. So I'm sure the neighbors are getting a little irritated with all that. It just looks kind of trashy. So I just wanted to get the area up there kind of cleaned back up to where it looks presentable again in the town. So that works.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. We'll move back on to council comment. Any council comments? Okay, we'll move on to reports from departments. Town hall.
We had a letter of interest, county visitor council. Ellie Dana.
Would you please come forward, Miss Ellie? Want to give her a copy? Oh, she brought it. I didn't see you had it hidden from me.
You really want me to read this?
No,
It's-
just,
Nice and thorough.
but please go through it in detail. You know, you don't have to read it.
First of all, I didn't know about this opening until I was here last time for other things. So I neglected to submit this earlier. So here I am. So I have been here for 28 years. I came on vacation. I loved it. I came back on vacation. I bought a lot. I built a house. I stayed here for the summers for many years. And 7 years ago, I made it my permanent home. I have learned to ride horses here in this valley. I've ridden in the local parades. I have competed at the fair. I am probably the person that most visitors that are aware that they'd like to ride who say, where shall I ride? Which I say, well, you could do this, or you could do this, or you could do that. Because for years I would get up in the morning and I kept a journal of all the things that were fun to do. I've eaten here, I've shopped here, my closets reflect shop local. I have enjoyed being here and setting aside the great part of being in the valley, I would also say I have since becoming a permanent resident, I joined the airport board because I have a long standing aviation background and thought there were two things that really mattered. We needed landing fees. The reason we need landing fees is it is not on the citizens of this town to support that airport. It is the cost causers that should pay. Usage of this airport is primarily for ranchers, the big commercial ranches, visitors to Brush Creek Ranch, some to Old Baldy. They are used to paying landing fees and the airport board agreed. And we have landing fees now so that the town does not pay to maintain this airport. The cost causers pay. The second thing I thought was really important, by mandate with the FAA, you have to replace the runways after a certain amount of usage. That causes them to scrape the top of the runway, creating piles of millings. If you leave those millings on the airport grounds in Wyoming, they create drifts. But fresh millings make great paving. So the beginning paving out on Brush Creek Road, that was done from those millings. The back entrance to Old Baldy, that was done with those millings. Those millings got spread everywhere in this valley. I think they even got spread going out to the landfill. It's important that we use, in my mind, we use the assets that are here in the valley to help the valley. So then after doing that, I was also part of Let's Have landfill billing here in Saratoga that reflects the users more closely. So I was the project manager for that. I'm the lead coordinator for the Chip In for Cancer tournament, which brings visitors to the town. And they stay locally and some of the people who live locally get to play at Old Baldy, which they don't have to be members to do. In addition to that, the funds that are raised by the Chip In for Cancer support local people who are getting remote cancer treatment. It's expensive if you have to go out of town for cancer treatment. So I think that's very important. You also saw me, if you went to the Saratoga Alternative Transportation Master Plan meeting, at the second meeting, I came to urge that whatever we decide to do as a community, that we do it, that it brings economic gain at the same time that it may bears an expense. And then there is Valley Village Childcare. I am the board chair currently. I'll get replaced at some point. I am the past project manager of the building, and the reason I'm past because we did it. And I am a fully credentialed volunteer. The childcare is really about economic development as much as it is about caring for the kids. We cannot support a hospital and growth and young families that bring service people and services to a tourism facility and community unless we can take care of the kids. We are, today, we are almost full up with the closing of the last home childcare here in town. We took all of their kids, and this would not have been possible without all of your support and support of all the citizens of the community. I think as a representative to the Visitors Council, I probably can work with the town council. I would say that Child Care Center was a complex and major project and a long-term project, and we worked very well together. So I like it here. I like contributing here. I don't think there's a restaurant or a store in this valley that hasn't seen me with my husband on repeated occasions. So I wish you would consider it, and thank you very much for listening.
Is there any questions? No. To go along with a little bit of the childcare, I believe that was included in part of the master plan at a very high priority that it gets built. So they're working on things that for the valley. So any other questions? Is this what the town is looking for? If so, I'd entertain a motion to appoint Ellie to the Visitors Council.
I'll make the motion to appoint her.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Well, I will let them know in Rollins. Thanks, Ellie. Okay. We'll move on to the Civic Plus invoice. Treasurer, you fill us in on that.
No, this is our invoice, our yearly invoice. We're under contract with them. We pay these, both of these are separate. We have the municipal code that Jen uses. And then also the other part of that other bill is the ordinances on the website and basically running the website and helping with anything that they need to put on the website or changes that they need to. So that's what these two bills are.
And if nobody's been up recently, there's been some changes made on the website. The people are really helping Jen out a lot. So we seem to be getting, we're seeing money come through for this.
Yeah, so we looked at this last year and questioned some of why we were paying for this. And since then, you've gotten more resources. They've provided some assistance and developing some things, and we've seen some changes. It's easier to navigate and make changes, right? So we're growing.
I think it was always there and nobody.
Right, I think that just making that effort to reach out to them to see what was available made it worth spending this $3,000 for the additional resources.
Anyway, do I have a motion to go ahead and pay these two invoices, one for $3,400 and one for $3,700?
I'll move to pay the two bills for Civic Plus.
Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move into the third and final reading of budget, please. Bear with us. This cannot be read by title tonight. It's got to be read in full.
All righty, so ordinance number 869, an ordinance to provide income necessary to finance the 2024-2025 fiscal budget of the town of Saratoga, Carbon County, state of Wyoming. Be it ordained by the governing body of the town of Saratoga, Carbon County, Wyoming. Section 1. The amount of general revenue necessary to be raised for municipal purposes and to meet current expenditures of the town of Saratoga, Carbon County, state of Wyoming during the fiscal year July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025 is hereby fixed at the suitable levy of the town of Saratoga assessed valuation. Section 2. That for the general fund of said town, there be levied a suitable tax of 8 mills on all real and personal property in the town of Saratoga, subject to taxation for the purpose of raising the sum of a portion of the appropriation, which includes other anticipated revenues, charges, and income for operation and maintenance of the general fund. Section 3, general fund anticipated revenues and income. Anticipated revenues are as follows: taxes, $2,245,608.20. License and permits, $107,550. Intergovernmental revenue, $449,763. Charges for service, $54,000. Fines and forfeitures, $20,000. Miscellaneous revenues, $175,200. Contributions and transfers, $390,248.23. Total anticipated general fund revenues is $3,442,369.43. Section 4. For the enterprise funds of said town, the following sums of money is hereby appropriated to defray the expenses from the general fund for the appropriation of the total of the enterprise funds for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2025. Anticipated revenues: impact fund, $1,655,000. Airport fund, $597,000. Water fund, $762,000. Sewer fund, $525,722.09. Weed and pest, $130,832.73. Specific purpose tax, $3,395,000. Total anticipated revenues, $7,065,554.82. Section 5, anticipated expenses and disbursements of the general fund. Anticipated expenditures. Town hall administration, $419,361.87. Salaries, payrolls, and benefits is $248,600. General expenses, $170,761.87. Planning, $120,143.87. Salaries, payroll, benefits, $32,300. General expenses, $87,843.87. Municipal court, $41,043.87. Salaries, payrolls, and benefits, $18,200, I'm sorry. General expenses, $22,843.87. Police department, $1,236,737.73. Salaries, payroll, benefits, $986,500. General expenses, $250,237.73. Volunteer fire department, $75,018.87. Payroll benefits, $12,175. General expenses, $62,843.87. Street departments, $594,543.87. Salary, payroll, benefits is $382,000. General expenses, $212,543.87. Swimming pool, $98,093.87. Salary, payroll, benefits, $50,850. General expenses, $47,243.87. Hot pool, $56,693.87. Salary, payroll, benefits, $19,000. General expenses, $37,693.87. Saratoga Lake, $17,343.87. General expenses, $17,300. $361,443.87. Parks, $361,443.87. General expenses, $361,443.87. Recreation Department, $171,943.87. Salary, payroll, benefits, $133,000. General expenses, $38,943.87. Community Center, $250,000. Salary, payrolls, and benefits, $185,000. General expenses, $65,000. Total anticipated expenditures of the general fund, $3,442,369.43. Total excess revenues above expenditures of the general fund is $0.
Questions?
Section 6, anticipated expenses and disbursements of enterprise funds. Anticipated expenditures, impact funds, $1,655,000. Rock Creek impact assistance, $30,000. Transfer in from reserves, $1,100,000. Transwest, $400,000. Transfer in from reserves from Transwest, $125,000. Airport fund, $597,000. General expenses, $145,487.73. Capital projects, $440,000. Transfers to reserves, $11,512.27. Water fund, $762,000. Salary, payroll, benefits, $220,000. General expenses, $478,502.20. Transfers to reserves, $63,497.80. Sewer fund, $525,722.09. Salary, payroll, benefits, $220,000. General expenses, $305,722.09. Weed and pest, $130,832.73. Weed salaries, payroll, benefits, $17,250. Pest salaries, payroll, benefits, $8,445. Weed control expenses, $8,243.87. Pest control expenses, $96,893.86. Specific purpose tax, $3,395,000. Capital projects, $3,395,000. Total anticipated enterprise expenditures is $7,065,554.82. Total excess revenues above expenditures of the enterprise fund is $0. Section 7, the mayor of the town of Saratoga and the town clerk are hereby authorized and instructed to certify this ordinance and to make application to the Board of County Commissioners of Carbon County, Wyoming, for suitable levy to provide the town of Saratoga with monies for general purposes, provided however, that said levy shall not be in excess of 8 mils on the dollar. Passed, approved, and adopted.
Questions? I have one.
Okay.
And under parks, why is it $361,000? We have a special project going on there?
Oh, we had to never forget park improvements in there.
Oh, okay. Enough said. Okay. Which is.
Right, does that seem like an awful lot?
Yeah, yeah, I forgot about, never forget part. Okay. Perfect. Thanks, Emery.
Sorry to raise your blood pressure, buddy.
Any additional questions? I have a motion to pass 2024-2025 budget.
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks, Jen. Okay, we'll move on to invoice from the auditor. The amount of $6,816 on the state CPA and consultants. You need to add anything? Yeah,
Tail end of it.
he thought we were within 10% of having it completely done, which will put us up on all audits will be complete and we'll be in compliance with everybody, so. I have a motion to pay this, Mountain States in the amount of $6,816.
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Verizon land lease agreement.
Basically what this is they are amending their agreement. The cost that they're gonna pay, or the rent that they're gonna pay is decreasing. But they're extending the agreement longer.
This is for the tower up here at the school. Yeah. We called them up and talked to them. It goes down. What they pay us goes down, but they're extending the agreement longer. He said you'll probably end up coming out better in the end.
He who said
The
that?
Verizon rep.
Parker Pickens.
And that was basically just for everybody's knowledge.
They pay $990 and they'll be paying $670 now.
It'll be effective May 1st of 2025. They gave us a little bit,
That's when it starts, correct?
the drop.
And how long's that lease?
It's gonna be extended out to 2028.
5 years at the guaranteed price of the $670, and then after that, I don't believe it's guaranteed.
If they lower it again, we may have to go to renegotiations. Okay. We'll move on to the police department, Mike.
Evening, how are you tonight? Start out my report for the police department. Had about 191 calls for service in the last 2 weeks spent. The month of May, we had written 18 citations, 20 warnings. 12th at 5:30 PM at the community center, we've got the dispatch workshop or communications workshop set for that evening. I'll have an agenda. I'll get with the mayor. We'll kind of lay out some stuff. I'll need somebody. I'm kind of looking for somebody maybe to moderate as well, just to kind of keep things on an even track and so we can get questions. But I have talked with the county fire warden, the Rollins Police Chief Mike Ward, Sheriff Bakken. So they'll be attending as well. I'm not sure about representing any of their council. We'll spend the next few days actually putting some stuff out on Facebook, and I'll get with Mr. O'Reilly up at the radio station and see if we can announce it there as well. And Josh Wood had said we could put something in paper. We probably won't miss the opportunity for this. So tomorrow.
Could you, sorry, Chief, could you tell us the days, time again, please?
June 12th, which is next Wednesday at 5:30 in the evening at the Platte Valley Community Center. I think as many of you are aware, Sheriff Block and Chief Ward and I have been meeting and discussing some things. So we may not have a lot to share this meeting because we've really at the ground floor of kind of looking to what this might look like, if anything, going forward. I mean, it really is a group that's going to look at what's working well, what's not working well, what alternatives there might be with actually no end result. And I mean, we're not looking to achieve an end result by trying to come up with a theory and try to make it work. We really want to go in and fact finding and educate ourselves, and be able to educate you and the public, and then get, particularly on the 12th, to get some input from the public. They think about this as well, so.
I see it as a very informational hearing. And that's why I'm really encouraging the public to come out because it could affect Saratoga. It changed things in Saratoga. I want public input. I think we as a council deserve it and because we're making the decision for them. It's how I look at it.
Absolutely. And then in turn, by educating you and getting the information from the public, you can then give me direction. As of what I've said before is, I will go 100% in whatever we decide to do, but I certainly need some direction from the council and some backing from the council because either way, it's a big deal. No matter where we go, it's a big deal. So I also encourage everybody to come. We'll see if we can get the word out for the next few days. I'll be in touch with the chief up in encampment and the mayor in encampment as well. I told her I'd keep her informed, so I will be reaching out to talk with her tomorrow. Because they do, as I think the council is aware, they contract with the town of Saratoga to provide dispatch service. The 911 calls ring in here, and then we provide dispatch services. So it very much affects encampment, townspeople in the surrounding area and encampment too. It's basically the whole valley. With that being said, I'm happy to announce we averted a near disaster yesterday. We've been having some problems with the radios that both for the Saratoga Police Department channel and the fire department channels. And it got worse over a period of time. We were able to ascertain that really the end of last week that the fire department, the mobile, the radios in the vehicles and the portables that they carry were not being heard in dispatch. All the other mobiles and portables could hear them, but we could not hear them in dispatch. And with that said, we were also having an issue on the Saratoga Police Department channels where it was cutting in and out. We were finally able to get Comtrek, who we contract with to do our radio repairs. They came down yesterday and gave us some really bad news is the computer, which is an old XP software-based computer, was basically failing. The options we had at that particular time were to attempt to restart it, reconfigure it with the possibility that we would just be SOL. We were able to, thankfully, with the radio equipment that we were able to get from Carbon County last year, they did have a couple of XP-based or software ran towers. We were actually able to get, well, they both ran, but we were able to put one up, get it configured and get it going. So we have not only got all of our radio communications back, but the SHSP grant that we've talked about, that we actually approved, I think last council meeting, I think is when we approved it, $45,000. But that will enable us to also go forward with that project as well, because that was a sticking part or sticking point on getting the radios and the system up on the radio or at the water tower get going. So we'll be making sure that what we need for that project is on par. We have until the end of the month to really order that equipment, get the PO written so there's a pretty good savings that Motorola has given us, and that ends the end of this month. So we'll take a big push to try to make sure everything's there, and we'll get that project, get the stuff. And that'll come out of the SHSP grant that approved. So very thankful we were able to avert any more problems. The Tahoe is still being worked on. They're still, I don't know, not so sure if we got all the parts that we needed or they had to reorder something, but we've spent kind of phone tagging the last week or so where it was supposed to be done and they were waiting for some other stuff. We did get the headlight, by the way, so that's taken care of, but we're still waiting on some internal parts. So hopefully by the end of the week, we'll have that. One of the things that the council asked me to do at the request of a citizen was to look into the possibility of a four-way stop sign at 3rd and Hugus around the ball fields. We've gone over, we looked at the traffic flow through there, the times that it's really being used. And I don't think I can really recommend a four-way stop at that point. right now, for several reasons. One is that baseball season's fairly short-lived. We put a permanent four-way stop there for really what amounts to a couple, 2.5, 3 months out of the year, I don't think is the right thing to do. I have talked with Emery a little bit. I think a couple of the things that we can do in order to ensure safety at that place is, number one, is to have more patrol there during the times where they're actually the busy times down there, ball games. And if we've got some practice times that are scheduled, I've reached out, we're getting some schedules. I think Thursdays are really the only game days they're having right now. But I have talked to some folks to try to get some schedules. The other thing is I think we can put up some signage, just awareness signage, children play, in whatever form they come up with to get that area. So, but unfortunately, I just don't think I can recommend a full-time four-way stop sign at that. We're really only talking about a block to the west, a little more than a block, not even a block, actually, to the north and around the corner there. So I think we'd be better served both by manpower and time by just really making it an area of concern and letting the police department spend a little bit more time down there and then with some signage. So that's really all I had, unless the council or anybody had questions.
Question? Nope. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll move on to, have nothing from the fire department. Somebody reached out. They've been on a couple of searches, mainly is why you'd seen them out off the river, and that's about it. So we'll move on to the recreation department. Tim?
Good evening. I need to ask for permission to hire some folks for the pool. I interviewed and would like to hire Sophia Powell and Maddie Dunning for cashiers, as well as Tyler, Emma, and Sammy attended their lifeguard training just this past weekend and passed. So I'd like to bring them on as lifeguards. And then finally, Jane will be training this season. She's still certified, but I'd like to bring her as well. So if I could get approval to get those folks hired, I'll have some staff.
And you've interviewed them all? Do I have a motion to accept these individuals' application for lifeguards and cashiers?
I'll make a motion.
Can we get the hourly rate for them?
Sophia Powell, what's her hourly rate?
If Powell,
13.
13 for the cashiers.
Pay scale.
Sophia and Maddie will be 13 based on the rate that was passed at the last
Okay.
meeting. Tyler will be a lead lifeguard, I believe, at 15. Emma and Sammy and Jane will be lifeguards, I believe, at 13.
Sammy and Emma will be at 13. Jane is a lifeguard too. She'll be at 14. Okay, she's been there.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And then she'll be signing a contract, renewing her contract as a instructor.
Yeah, I
Right.
thought she came in today to try and all of the rest of them had resubmitted their paperwork as well, so everything should be up to date.
Make a correction for the cashiers. It's 11.
Thank you. I was thinking that it was lower. Per the new agreed upon. I'm sorry, Jerry. you wanna
Go ahead.
I'll move to
Amend the motion.
amend that motion, just with the updates to their wages. And hire these folks.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And Hiram.
The following flow chart was just something Chuck had kind of asked me to put together as far as, new person. As well as maybe, for folks on the council, and I also shared it with just to kind of lay out duties as well as maybe some areas where if we were to hire an assistant, would kind of give some support. The rec programs was kind of the big box there. So I just kind of asked Chuck if he wanted me to include this for other council members to see. So that's why it's in here. So if you want any further explanation about it or want to go into detail about any of the blocks, I'd be happy to discuss with you. And like I said, at the rec board meeting last night, I had two folks attend, but they were, kind of looking through it and particularly help with the blocks under the programs and curious how they could kind of offer some support there. So they seem open as far as moving forward, how they could help out with the programs.
Well, this gives us all an idea actually what goes on over there, So I think it's been a help. And I don't see anything with the pool, so the pool.
Well, I included it under a rec program. I don't know that it's really a rec program. It probably should be its own box.
Yeah,
But it
I would agree.
I kind of filled it at the bottom under the program, but yeah, technically it's probably its own whole box, or not really program, but whole.
Yeah, I would count it as a separate facility and program because it's, several months of planning and staffing and training and
I would agree.
updates and
I would agree with that.
Yes.
it's its own equipment maintenance and all of that on its own.
Yeah. No.
And this doesn't need a vote or anything. It's just the FYI.
Yeah, this is just for our
It's just kind of
information.
for your information.
I appreciate that, Kim. Moving on to the pool, what are your plans? I know you're a short timer, but what are the plans at this time?
Spill Thursday. I know John spent some time over the weekend trying to bring it up to temperature, do some backwashing or backwashing. Today it got tested twice. The chemicals are not, the water quality isn't acceptable yet. I've had a couple staff members down there as well as myself this week cleaning and getting stuff. It looks really good. We're just waiting for kind of the water quality to get where it needs to be. Hoping maybe to open part-time, offer some water aerobics, some day swims and some evening swims. With only 4 lifeguards, we cannot be open 6 days a week. So I've kind of put together a draft schedule and spoke with these folks as far as if they can accommodate that. Tyler's the only full-time employee down there. The other 3 are part-time and very busy with volleyball and family trips and some other events that they're leaving town for. So it might look like something where we open part-time for maybe 3 or 4 days. And then a lot of those folks leave for a couple weeks in June to go on these events. So we might kind of have to reassess. Maybe we'll get some more applicants. That's kind of what
that is the plan as of now.
Kind of what I've put together, and now that I have some cashiers, we can maybe add them to the schedule as well and see. They both are part-time as well, so they're all teenagers, well, except for Jan, but she's only wants about 15 hours, so that's kind of been our discussion.
Okay. And your board is all aware of this and they talked a little bit, last night, stepping up. Emery, we ordered some new parts for that flooring? Have they come in?
It should be here tomorrow morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I mean, we can adjust the flooring, that's how we've been doing. We'll kind of roll is probably the pH in the flooring, not right. So, we used to have one person there that was messing with it. Last year, we had to dial it in. But we're
dialing back in.
Okay.
Okay.
We get that or controller on there, that'll definitely help.
How many hours a week did you say Jane was scheduled to work?
It's about 15 hours. I asked her if she wanted to be pool manager, but she declined. And same with the others, about 15 to 20 on some of the others, at least through June. And then, like I said, come July, they might change or their schedules might open up, but I tried to put kind of a draft schedule for June, with the people we have, and so that's kind of where I'm at right now.
And have you talked to Cindy about how many hours she'd be willing to
She
fill
said
in?
she would volunteer, and that's about all she said to me, so I do not know what she's up for, or how many hours she's up for, or where I can squeeze.
So we have another, actually, we have Cindy then to fall back with. Okay. So
And we have an applicant for the pool manager.
that is out. We have an application for pool manager. That is true. It's still being advertised also.
Do we have a plan on how long we expect to do that? Because I would say we want the pool manager hired as soon as possible.
Council?
What was your question? I'm sorry.
We have a pool manager with experience who's applied. And it's not noted here that we have somebody who can come back and start today. Tomorrow.
Come back.
Yeah, we have an applicant from last year. Whisper was our manager last year. Had multiple people write support letters, emails, contacted council members and the mayor to let us know that they'd support her hire, including all of her employees from last year. And I think it's a good idea to hire Whisper back and have it done. She's experienced. She knows how to run the program. She can start right away.
Discussion?
The executive session.
Yeah. Say what?
Executive session.
Okay. And we'll leave that open for right now. Okay, you have anything else?
No.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to Department of Public Works, Mr. Emery. Let's say something smart. Yeah, a minute.
We don't get crayons with it.
No, no pancakes either.
There yours.
Okay, so on the agenda, the first item on there, so we got the first payout for this River Street project over here. Me and Craig went through it. We had them adjust some quantities a little bit. They feel pretty good about it being equivocal with what they've gotten done so far, including the portions of their mobilization. Everything else. So we do need a formal motion to pay that.
Are you good with it?
Yeah, me and Craig both looked it over. We did have a few little adjustments when we got the first one from them and we sent it back to them. They adjusted everything twice as fast and get it back to us, so.
Well, the chair would entertain a motion to pay these guys their first pay app in the amount of $196,667.85.
I'll make a motion.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Okay, just kind of a quick update on the streets. With weather getting a little bit warmer, we're gonna start doing some patching around town. Same old maintenance at the pool and the Hovo pool. We are paving up on the hill. Trucks did start showing up today. They got that first lift. Mostly done there on Airport. They'll probably be here through Friday. Getting all the Sierra and Airport done up on the hill.
That's the new subdivision.
Yeah, and so we got EA up there doing his quality control for Octagon and for us. Well, they did have some stuff that got sent back earlier today, but so far since they got going, it looks really good. It's nice to see that getting done. We got the storm drain done for Peterson. You know, last fall, we started working on a permit and everything to replace that storm drain over off the northeast veterans over here that goes out to the river. We did get that done. The new pipe is in. We tore out the old catch basin. Once the water goes down, we'll tear out the old outfall. The water got a little bit high before we could get the old outfall torn out. But once it drops, we'll get that torn out. So we got that done. Our little concrete projects, we're getting those knocked out. Nash, B&H had a little miscommunication with its sub and
So he actually came all the way back from Idaho to get us started on those, because so I applaud him for doing that for us and not just leaving us hanging. Should have those done early next week, and then we'll get the post office valley pan done probably in about 10 days. We want to know we can get it done in about 2 days. I don't want to leave it tore up for like a week or whatever. So that window's looking about 10 days. We got hospital signs put up finally. That'll point you as you come through town if you're not from here. Big blue H arrows. You get that knocked out. Kind of Mike spoke to the signage possibly over there at the baseball field. That's on the streets. That's kind of where we're at. Water and sewer. Spoke about the River Street project a little bit, like Jerry said. You know, we're going to try and they can get asphalt. They're going to try and get paved what they have done. If not, we told them, you know, we want backfilled up the trench, compacted road base so a Prius can drive over it, and then stay compacted as they go. And then if we pave all at the end, that's, you know, fine too. But we can leave as much of the road open as possible. We'll ensure we've got good signage down there around to the Hobo Pool ramp and everything to get there, so people know that's open. This guy right here. So I've been talking about the lead and copper inventory we've been having to do. I put together this survey that the state is providing to help us, and this will go out in the paper. Probably also do a direct mail or a postcard with the link on it. If you're a homeowner and you see this in the paper, it'd be very helpful if you could participate if possible, and either drop it off with your water bill or bring it down to me, or you can just do it online. This little nifty QR code here, you just scan it with your phone and you can do the whole survey online, but it just tells us what kind of pipe material you have on your end. You know, obviously we don't want to go crawling through everybody's crawl spaces. It's good for us to know, and it's also good for you to know too. You might not know what you have down there. This survey's got a lot of information. The state's website is really good too. It's easy to understand as to why they're doing this. And I do really applaud Wyoming for helping us out in that way, being very proactive on that front and giving us tools and resources to help us get this inventory done. And we've also got EA's been helping out as well. The state actually allotted money to pay them to help us, which is even better. So that's that, and that's got to be all done in October. So if you're thinking of participating with us, the sooner the better to get that back to us. Still looking at the water tank level 3 later this fall. Hopefully get that in, capitalize on some funding to get another tank built. Pricing out some VFDs so we can get another one of those for the well field. Got taps going on as well for the water department. I'm getting our new guy up and going, getting him trained on those sampling, testing, working towards him so he can get his licenses here in the near future. Those are kind of what we got going on the water end. Weed and pest, in contact with our pilot who we used last year. We're going to try and shoot for tomorrow for our first larvicide application, but it's Wyoming wind we've got going on is not helping. So it's kind of a very frustrating waiting game on this to see.
It's not usually.
Welcome to Wyoming.
Yeah. So, I mean, as soon as I can get him, we can get a weather day and get him down here. We've been staying in touch, so we'll get one of those done. We did do some testing, some dipping and stuff, and they're starting to show up in water bodies and whatnot with the warmer weather. So we'll probably start ground fogging next week out there. We're still looking for anybody seasonal who would like to come drive around and see Saratoga on a 3 times a week basis. Humming sound. If you're interested, let me know.
And we pay.
And we pay. Nothing can beat those views though. Parks, so far so good on the mowing contract. Everything's been staying cut. Kind of watching that. And never forget park. We talked about getting some grading and stuff done ourselves. So I was in touch with Jason. We're gonna get that staked out probably after the 4th. So we don't get it all staked out at the end of July. Then we have the 4th of July and kids are having sports fight with the stakes and everything else. We did have a contractor offer dump truck services to haul material when we get to that point. So once we get it staked, we can kind of see what we need to haul in and where. We'll probably do a kind of a rough grade staking and then a finished grade. And hopefully if that goes good, we'll look against the concrete curb and gutter and stuff laid in. Or we're doing it ourselves, you know. Jerry, you brought up doing that path on the east side. Try to figure something out on that end. to allow that walking path on that side of the parking lot. I think we can work something like that in too, just so people don't have to walk through the middle of the parking lot to get to the bridge. I think that's a good idea, and we'll try to work that in there too. And then bathroom over there. Reached out to a couple vendors and stuff. We're gonna be over that 75K mark to get any kind of precast. So we'll probably put a bid package together and get one of those solicited for that over there. We got that impact funding in the budget for this next year, and lead times are pretty bad. So we'll get that put together and then see what prices come back at. And in the meantime, we can probably get started on the tap side of it, just so those are done whenever that time comes, be the plan. And that's kind of on the park side. Those are the big things. Questions?
Any committed funds for this fiscal year that you have any concerns on spending any money before? Like, have we committed any monies towards something that falls into this revenue cycle or this billing cycle?
What do you?
Just anything that you're trying to finish. Committed funds for this fiscal year before we hit July 1st.
Oh,
Okay.
there's something in particular you have one thing?
No, I was thinking about some of the things that we put together in that grant and if we're gonna move ahead with those or hold off until we see if we've got some matched funds there at the hot pool.
Yeah, I think maybe we could work towards getting like the bathroom done. I think it'd be a big reach to. That's a good.
Anything more?
Yeah, I think it's a good grant. I think it's a good project, good grant funding project.
Yeah. But we're gonna get that packet from OV soon that we can leverage for applications.
Correct, and when that's adopted, we can.
Have you two got it back out for review?
No, actually, that's on my next
Okay.
part down here.
Cause some of those little projects that they broke out,
Yeah, there were a lot.
great,
Yeah,
small scale things that are feasible.
yeah, they were very attainable. I think they're fairly attainable things that were put in there. There's not a lot of high in the sky projects. Yeah, I mean. Planning and zoning wise, that's one thing I have for you guys. So Friday, June 14th, like Kathy brought up the OV study. That's the plan to get their draft to me. And I'll kind of take a look over it and see, if there's anything way out of whack. And McCall will look at it too. And if there's anything real out of whack, we'll say, hey, we should fix this, whatever. And then Wednesday, June 19th, that's kind of our due date to get comments back to them. Tuesday, June 25th, they're gonna go to the planning commission and give them a revised draft. So the planning commission can look through it and everything, and then we'll have a discussion with planning commission and OV on July 11th to discuss that draft plan. And then if there's any big changes at that point that the planning and zoning commission says, hey, no, we saw this from the public, this needs to be altered. We can do that. There's no set and date that like this has to get adopted, this has to get done by such and such date. Like if it takes a little bit longer, it takes a little bit longer. But that meeting with on July 11th with OV and the planning commission to go over the draft, that's gonna be the date that kind of decides, okay, are we really, really in the right direction? And then what is the timeline look moving forward? I think it's kind of can't find a good adjective for us to say, hey, we're gonna have it adopted at this date. When you're doing a plan like this, that's all about public input, things like that. So. And then we drafted the chicken ordinance this week. I got some edits to make on that, and then we'll have that from the planning commission agenda next week. Same thing, drafting the ordinance for all the changes we've done on Title 17. Working on that. We did have I had a meeting with FEMA and the state last week on the floodplain maps. So we will be getting what's called a letter of final determination June 19th. And from that point in time, we have 6 months to get all the ordinances that go along with these maps adjusted to how we think they should be for us, make sure they're also congruent with what the state and FEMA requires, and then get all that packaged up and adopted in a 6-month window. So after we get that letter of final determination, well, even as of right now, those elevations are not changed. Those maps will be set. So we'll have some ordinances to talk about and stuff moving forward, probably end of July. You get that. They're pretty standard for most communities because FEMA has their requirements. Tree board will be probably one of the number one things we talk about. So we'll have that to get done, and they do have a draft ordinance for us, which helps.
Remind me, we had already, based on the results that we had of that assessor, we had already decided that we don't intend to contest it.
It's that point, it's passed.
Right.
And you can always go down and do a loaner
Yeah.
down the road, but it's gonna cost us $90,000.
Right, not as a town.
Right.
And I just sort of as a reminder to folks that this will be official, so individuals would have to seek those letter of amending.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay.
And I'd say those are kind of big things on the planning side of life. Got about 30 something permits so far. Not a ton of new homes, less than 10 so far. The Joint Powers Board, we haven't had a meeting. We've got one next week. And then it's pretty much.
Any questions for Emery? Yeah. Thanks, sir. Okay, we'll move on to Community Center Joint Powers Board.
I don't have anything new to report. Our next meeting is next week, June 10th at 4:30 at the community center.
We'll move on to Recreation Commission.
And I wasn't able to attend the meeting last night for Rec Commission, but Mayor Dios did, and they did not have a quorum, so they did meet to discuss a few of the open items, but it was just a general discussion continued with some updates, pursuits for staffing for rec director and school-related folks. Our next meeting is July 1st at the community, here at Town Hall at 6 o'clock.
Saratoga Airport Advisory Board.
Our meeting is next Monday at 3:30 here.
Thank you. South Central Wyoming Medical Service Board, did they have any? No representation there? Okay.
We had that.
Sewer lift station. The sewer lift station under Saratoga Airport Advisory.
Oh, I'm sorry, Emery, I skipped over, I didn't even see that.
No, you're good.
Yeah, better,
Should just stay up there.
just looked at it.
So the airport really doesn't have much of the sewer system at all, so there's been an ongoing discussion as to how to remedy the problem. They looked at getting a bore under the highway and putting a main underneath there, which casing, directional drill, the engineer's estimate at that time was like $430,000. The Joint Powers Board, Airport Board, everybody was not very excited about trying to go that route because it wouldn't really serve anything but the airport. So I was kicking around the idea of them putting in a lift station. They would own it. We would put it in. If they needed help, we could run up there and check pumps out for pretty low maintenance. So that's the solution that we came up with. I talked to the JPB, the Joint Powers Board, about it. The Airport Board is all in favor of it. They would like to get this task order to get this thing designed. We would size it accordingly so they'd give them some room for growth. And then we would be able to just pump up to our manhole up the hill that's already on our mainline system. It's a way, way cheaper way to go. Long-term cost liability, like if we have a line under the highway that we ever have to replace, who knows how much that'll cost when the time comes. Lift stations are much cheaper.
Plus the amount it's gonna serve us.
Yeah, so you're looking probably, we do it, we get the whole project done for probably about 70, somewhere in there compared to like 430,000.
And the airport gonna pay.
Yeah.
We just do the in-kind work.
Does that include the design that they're pricing here?
Yeah, so that's the top.
25 for the preliminary design?
Yeah, that's the top end. There was some permitting time figured and stuff in there with WIDOT. I will try to keep down. Then we weren't sure what we were gonna have to do with survey, what the monumentation was like there. So that's That's high end. It's up to that.
Up to 75, you said?
Yeah, minus DEQ, because it basically would be a service. Is all it would be if we could do it without having to get it designed. They told me no.
And that's our part, or is this reimbursable?
This is all the airports.
Airport's paying for
Yeah,
everything. Okay, that's what.
They already made agreement to pay for it, so
Okay.
yes. It's a contract and so you guys should.
I'll move forward to, on the approval of the lift station. Task order. Thank you.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you, Emery.
Thanks again, Emery.
The next meeting for the ambulance. Excuse me, the South Central Wyoming Emergency Medical Service Board is June 17th at 6 p.m. at the Saratoga Ambulance. Is there any new business to be brought before the town? Do I have a motion to move into executive session under Wyoming statute 16-4-405 A, little I, and triple I?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, do I have a motion to call this meeting back to order
I'll make a motion.
and seal the minutes from the executive session?
I will make a motion to exit executive session and seal the minutes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have a motion to call the meeting back to order. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Is there any further business to be brought before the town? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.